welcome everyone. Good afternoon if you're in London. Right? It's 4 p.m. there.
It's 4 p.m. here.
Yeah, the sun's shining bright on all of us, Meg. Good morning if you're in the States. We're international today, everyone. Listen, you know what? I won't forget the little people, I promise. Now that I am massively successful. Today's a big day, episode 38 of the Fanatic Sports Podcast, and it's a special day because we've got, as you can see on the screen, Ballers, Meg, and I, and Big Baller Blocker, your favorite podcast host. Meg, how was your day? You're in the afternoon time. How was your day?
Yeah, it's not been too bad. I've not been up to very much, to be fair. Just a nice, chilled, quiet one. How about you? It's your
You
morning
know
time,
what?
right? So
Yeah, so nothing bad has happened yet.
good, good.
But I'm not in the future like you, and that's okay. But before we start, I did promise no shenanigans today, but we might do some folly and some silly nannying. So I noticed something. I saw one of your reels talking about staying up late during football season. Do you sleep? Is that a real thing? Sleep for you?
Not really, to be fair. So I'm a teacher, and so I have to be in school for 8 a.m. every morning.
Oh
But the games
gosh,
don't finish until what, 3?
yeah, late,
So it's late,
late.
late. And then I'm a massive basketball fan as well. So
Really now?
come
Okay.
October time, it's 7 nights a week. Let's be honest. There's no rest. Uh, and you kind of get to the weekend, and you'd think, oh, she's a teacher, she's off at weekends. Yeah, I do security on clubs on weekends. So I get to the weekend, and I'm like, yay,
This,
coffee time.
yeah, yeah. No, you know what? I realized something, and I know you probably know it as well. I know. As a matter of fact, I want to say the first time I kind of like noticed your content, you were telling us about how you would like taking a break, and taking some time away, which fully understandable. As a attempting to be a content creator as well. Like the amount of effort, energy, time, stress that goes into putting these types of things together is massive, and it's a load. And that was the first thing I told you. I think I want to say that was our first interaction. I was like, "Hey, take all the time you need, right? Like
Yeah.
they'll be playing ball forever, right? And there's plenty of life to live. You don't want to rush to the end of it trying to, you know what I mean, trying to create this content or be and do whatever your fans ask you to do. Like it's massive. I was talking with, so my brother works for a social media company, and we were talking about it, and he's like, man, no they don't. But like to me, I always say that like whatever content creators make, the money they make doing whatever they're doing, they deserve it. Because I mean, like for me, just with this podcast alone, and I produce another podcast. There's I'm working on merchandise, fashion lines, all sorts of things. Don't let me sound like I'm doing anything super duper awesome, but it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so it's a ton, it's a load. So like sleep is at a premium for me. I think I got 6.5 hours, which is my goal, on my iPhone, and so my watch congratulated me. I think I've hit my sleep goal this year maybe 7 or 10 times. I don't know what that says, as we're in like day 200 this of the year, but yeah, that's
Yeah, I got a notification through on my WhatsApp this morning in a group chat, and somebody was like, "Good morning, guys," and I was like, "It's morning? I've not been asleep yet. It's 8 a.m. What the hell?" And I was
yeah.
like, "Oh no."
I mean, and then that's the other thing about sports. Sports doesn't stop. You know, it's a constant 24-hour stream of always something. So I work at a hotel during the day. I work overnight sometimes, and I caught myself betting on racquetball. No, what's the thing? Yeah, I think it was racquetball or something. Like with the game with the birdie, I was betting on that.
Okay.
It's like the little net. I don't know. It was up, and I had won like some, I don't know, It was like a coupon for like $5, and I bet it all on racquetball or something, just wild. And I mean, I won, whatever. But I mean, just sports is everywhere all the time. Like there's never not
Yeah,
sports. So when
all
should
the
we
time.
sleep?
All the
Well,
time, literally.
well, look, it was certainly a pleasure to have you here with us. Super excited about having you because I know you're, as I put, a great ball knower and an excellent ball talker as well. So looking forward to that. So at the Fanatic Sports Podcast, the first thing we have to do before you start talking ball, we've got to know your story. So that's why we call it the Fanatic Sports Pod. Is that fanatics? It's akin to the word crazy
Yep.
about your team. So tell us about one of your favorite teams and kind of how you became a fan of that team.
So I'm an Atlanta Falcons girly, as most people probably have figured out from the top, the merch in the background. And I only started following American football 2 years ago. And when
Okay.
I say that, everyone's like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, seriously, 2023 October, like
Yeah.
that was it." And basically, what happened was, I lost a bet
Oh.
and became a Falcons fan. So I'd never watched a game before in my life. And we were doing a
Awesome.
security shift, and one of my friends was like, um, "Oh, what was it?" He said, "He was like, you need to watch American football because um, you're you're gonna love it. Like you'll love the game." And I was like, "I don't understand it." So we watched it, and he started to explain the game, and I was asking all the questions. But obviously, we don't have that here. Like we don't have it
Right.
in the UK. So he said to me, he was like, "Well, you just have to watch it, and you'll get to know it, and you'll love it."
Okay.
I was like, "Okay, right. How do you pick your team? Like, what do you do if you're a UK based fan or a Europe based fan? You've not been brought up in an area where American football's a thing.
Yeah.
You've got no affiliation to a specific state or anything like that." And he was like, "Well, you could just pick somewhere you want to go." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fair." And then I made the mistake of cursing the shift by saying, "I think it's going to be quiet tonight. We're not going to have any kickoffs." I was new to security at the time. I've learned
Oh,
since.
that's fine.
Um, and he's like,
We'll
"You've just
forgive
jinxed
you.
us." So you've just jinxed us. We're definitely going to have a nightmare now. And he was like, "I tell you what, if we do have a quiet shift, you pick your team. You choose whatever team you want. If we don't have a quiet shift and we have to kick someone out, I pick your team."
Okay.
About 5 minutes later, there was two guys rolling around the floor, punching each other's faces in, and I picked up one of them to remove him out of the bar.
Nice.
He picked up the other one, and as we're throwing them out, he just turns to me and goes, "You're an Atlanta Falcons fan now. Congratulations."
That's fantastic. And
The
the
rest
best
is
part
history.
is just getting picking that team, and then you dive head first into it. So have you gotten into the history of the Falcons yet?
Yeah, so it's a kind of process for me because I always say to people, like, I'm not an expert, I'm a fan. And,
Okay.
I'll never claim to be someone who knows everything that there is to know about football or about Falcons or any team. But
Right.
I'm passionate enough that if I was to stumble upon some knowledge or somebody was to say something to me like, "Oh," like for example, the Michael Vick thing,
Right.
I had no idea. And I was like, "But he's like one of the greatest left-handed quarterbacks that we've had." Like, what? And they were like, "No, no, no, no. Look up Michael Vick." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh dear,
Yeah.
this is not the kind of stuff that I want to be promoting right here."
Yeah.
Um,
Fair.
so it's kind of a process, and I feel like every year I learn some more about the history. Like I'm pretty much up on it with the knowledge on the current team in the last couple of years since I've been following because I'm obsessed.
I
Um,
love that. I love that. All right, so quick quip here. I do have to say, shout out to my girl Sarah, who watches pretty frequently. She knows this, and a few other people do. I I hate left-handed quarterbacks. Um,
okay.
All right. So, all right. To be fair, I played left tackle in high school and in college, and so that's the blind side. Blind side makes more money, right? If you're a left-handed quarterback, now I'm not the blind side.
Yeah.
And so right away, that immediately was like, well, there goes my money if I got to play for a left-handed quarterback. And I actually, thankfully, I never did. But then after that, like, you got to change the whole protection scheme. You got to flip everything. You got to call play. Some people can't roll to their non-dominant hand and throw. So just everything as an offensive coordinator. So I helped coach for the team, for a minor league team. And so again, like, we did have a left-hand quarterback for about 2 weeks, and it was just like, I cannot.
Yeah.
I did. Obviously, we did. It worked itself out. He was a much better receiver than quarterback, anyways. But I'm not a fan of left-handed quarterbacks. Michael Vick is the only left-handed quarterback that I will ever tolerate, because he is a freak of nature. Like this, I've never seen someone throw so far, run so fast. I mean, like, and you know, as we now know, everyone has their downfalls. And I'm thankful that he's been reincarcerated from that, and he's no longer obviously making those types of mistakes. And he rebounded in his career, and now he's like a really great leader for Norfolk State, which is really cool. But yeah, that left-hand court, I hate left-hand quarterbacks. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like any of them. And
Hey, Michael Penix Jr. is going to have a season now that you've said that.
Oh, I know it. Guess who's got to draft him in the fantasy league? Do you do the fantasy football? I can't remember if we talked about this in the chat.
So I'm in 33 fantasy leagues at my last count.
33.
I might have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew.
A
little bit.
Fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be all. Everything's gonna be okay. Okay, that's my motto. Like it is what it is, and everything's gonna be okay. Like not me getting draft notifications, be like, Meg, pick a damn player now.
So
okay, I'm on my way.
So I was gonna mention our fantasy football league that we're hosting. It's pretty cool. We did just fill up, so unfortunately you won't have a 34th here. But I've got 2 other leagues that I've joined aside from the one that we're hosting, and so I was just and so all of the drafts are within like 30 minutes of each other, and that wouldn't be a problem. I normally can kind of go back and forth. I got ADD a little bit, so it's not that big. Most of us do, but I'm hosting that draft. We're going to live stream it. So this draft, this league is all about content. And so it's actually pretty cool. I'm very excited about it. We're going to do, actually Sunday, this Sunday, we will be hosting a game show quiz. This is how we'll do our selection process. The scores of it's all National Football League trivia. And I'm very excited because there's 15 most of them are pretty easy, but there's some hard ones. I'm very excited about this because I'm going to trick some people, and I'm looking most forward to that. I also have recused myself. I will be picking 12th, and everyone. Yeah, I've got that much confidence, I guess, that I'm picking 12th, and I'm going to host the quiz show, and then the 11 scores will be how they'll select in the draft. And so we're going to live stream the draft. It'll be kind of like a reality show almost. Like there's tons of confessionals talking about the week before. It's just a lot of great content that's going to come from it, I believe.
Oh, I'm excited to watch that. I love fantasy football.
Did you ever watch the league, the show, The League?
No, I didn't. It was kind of before I got into the football kind of things, really.
Fair.
But I'm in a weekly podcast called TSS Fantasy, which is American as well. So we record that at 2 a.m. my time. And so it's a lot of fun. We're very involved in our fantasy world of football right now. And so yeah,
It's
we're doing a
such a
lot.
big it's such a big thing in all of sports now. It's amazing. I saw ESPN was offering fantasy hockey,
Oh,
which yeah, right, yeah. I was kind of thrown by what stats you might be expecting to collect. I'm pretty familiar with hockey, but I mean, like, I guess they're talking checks and a couple other things. But yeah, it's everything's a fantasy sport now, and that's I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty dope. I love the aspect of what all it can be. So very very
yeah,
excited about fantasy
yeah, it's
sports.
really
And
cool.
so
I do fantasy basketball as well. Um,
okay,
and so it's quite funny because oftentimes I'm the only girl in the league. Um, and so this year I've adopted the team name My Penix is Bigger because I just think it's absolutely brilliant.
yeah, that's the key. Like, I think the years that I've had, my best fantasy football years came with outstanding names, right? Like, you got to have a good name to get. Like, if you don't have a good name, it doesn't. I feel like you're jinxing yourself before you even start. So I haven't named my fantasy league team yet. There's a couple leagues, and I normally stick with. Do you change your name every year with each
Um,
team?
so I can't remember what was that last year. To Infinity and Bijan was my last
Nice,
year's name.
nice.
Um,
Okay,
yeah, so I try and mix it up a little bit sometimes. And then obviously my basketball ones are completely different.
right.
Um, your Drew a Holiday, for example, like I'm a Celtics fan, so
All
yeah,
right.
it's got to be done.
So I've stuck with. There's a couple leagues where I've stuck with the same name. I think my favorite name that I created was Remember the Tight Ends. Um, so
Great film.
there was yeah, terrific film, right? So all right, a little bit more shenanigans before we start. I've been asking everyone because I've been thinking about it. Favorite sports movie? Do you have a favorite sports movie?
Oh, it's not really a movie. I like the TV show Ballers.
Okay,
That's where my name came from.
nice.
Um, but it probably would be Remember the Titans or oh my God, I watched this one once and it's left an impression and I can't remember what it's called. It's a movie
Who was in it?
based in like
Yeah.
a young offenders prison and he sets up an American football
Oh,
team. Uh,
it is.
The
Is
Rock's
this
in
the
it.
one with the Rock? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Now I gotta look it up because I want to say it was. God bless! I almost called it. All right, we're going to
Was it
IMDb
just
right
called
now.
like the squad or the team?
Yeah, I think so. Rock football kids movie. Yeah, we got it. We got to.
I gotta know what it is.
Yeah, we got it. The game plan.
The game plan. There we go. Was it the game plan?
That's fantastic. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was the one. Yeah, this is the game because for a minute I was thinking about the one with Ice Cube. Have you seen that one? This one
Yes.
is called that one's called The Long Shots.
Right.
And so with Ice Cube and Kiki Palmer, that's
Yeah, not
fantastic
that
there.
one. It's definitely the game plan.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right, so it is football season. We're very excited about football season. So ironically, I came up playing basketball. Basketball was my first love, but football got me to school. And then like I kind of got into the semantics. I'm an overthinker, and football allows me to overthink. I thought about this the other day. Like my very first week as an offensive play caller, we are going through. It's a minor league football team. So this is 18 and up adult amateur football. So these are essentially it's guys who aren't ready to let go of the game. Most of them have been to college. A few of them were just super talented in high school and didn't get that opportunity. Now, we preach the idea that you have a chance to go play a next level of football, maybe a level where you get paid. But a lot of times, like I said, it's just folks who were too good to let go, or maybe too young, or still had a lot of football left to play, but college was out or over and the NFL wasn't knocking on the door. And this was 15 years ago now, before we had done, before there was an XFL and big time
UFL.
spring football. There wasn't any televised spring football, and so we were playing minor league football. So my first week as a offensive coordinator, we're going through goal line. We're on the 10-yard line. We had just recruited the best back in the league that we played in. And I built this. A buddy of mine had built this outstanding line. They're just full of talented guys. We had a really good season. We actually lost in the conference championship that year.
Oh.
It was a tough loss, but to a really, really good team. Full of like a lot of former NFL or some NFL players and a lot of former D1 players. So, we got out talented that year. But we had a really good team. So we walk into this session, right, getting ready for goal line, and I line up in I right, and I call a slant route, and the offensive line calls a timeout. They come and they fuss at me, right? They're like, no, there's no way. We got the best line. We're running it, and I was like, dude, you can't. You gotta trust me on this. And this is the beauty of football for me, is that you can overthink it. So even if we make a mistake, you can turn that mistake into, we can catch them on a counter play, right? We can catch them on play action over the top. Just I love football for that reason, just to overthink. And there's not a time in football where we're gonna overthink more than the preseason, right? Just at all. Everybody is I bought the College of Madden bundle. I play video games when I'm not asleep. When I should be asleep, probably. And so I load up my favorite team. I'm a Steelers fan. I load up my favorite team, and you look at all these rookies, and they've got not 90s ratings, but much higher than you would expect for some of the rookies. And this time of year is full of splendor and exciting. I love the preseason for that. It's the ultimate positive moment, right? Look, you guys are building. The Falcons are building off an outstanding start, right? You've got 3 first-round draft picks that are coming to their own. We like to think that Penix is going to find Kyle Pitts. You got maybe one of the best running backs in the league. And now you've got a great young quarterback that's going to handle the entire offense. And then defensively, you guys did outstanding. I think the James Pierce kid, they may have reached on him, but nobody's going to believe that with the type of production I believe he's going to put. You got a great linebacker in Walker, and these are just the rookie guys that you add to the bench. Feels like it's going to be the best team possible, right? It should, and in your division, you should compete. God forbid. I know some of my church members. So I'm based out of Baton Rouge, and so naturally, there's a ton of Saints fans that probably are going to see this and not be happy with me. But that's the way the cookie crumbles in the NFC South. It's gonna be a mess, and I like it. Chaos everywhere. But you guys have the team. But that's what the preseason brings us, and I love that. I love that we get the opportunity to be positive. Even the Titans, right? Even the Titans, even the Panthers, the Cardinals, teams that for the last decade have been not very good. They haven't made a lot of great decisions. There's not been consistency, but it doesn't matter. Because preseason week 1, everything should look good. Talk to me a little bit. We can start with the Falcons, what you saw that you liked and you didn't like with the Falcons, and then just in general what you saw in the preseason that made you feel either good or bad.
I think, for me, I kind of go into the preseason in a little bit of a slump, if I'm honest, because I know that we're not playing our playbook. We're playing a vanilla playbook that is everybody's playing the same way. Nobody's giving anything away. We're not showing off our best potential, let's be honest. And last season, I didn't know this last season because it was my first proper preseason. So last season, I made 9.5 pages of notes on the games as I'm watching them, and I'm giving it all for Casey Washington. I'm like, that guy is going to slay this season. He's going to be so good. Never got on the pitch. Like, literally maybe 30 seconds. I think he took one snap of the ball. Like, I was furious by the end of last preseason. So I've gone in much more knowledgeable this season. I'm not putting too
Okay.
much stock. There is no
All right.
9.5 page notebook happening on these games. Um, However, obviously Michael Penix isn't on the field. Like he's not going to be playing in preseason games. We've already been told that.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
Correct, because you know Kirk Cousins needs to go find a different home somewhere. That'd be great, and somebody could pay us for him. That would be even better. But realistically, not happening. But one thing that I was really excited to see was I did not think that we would be able to draft Jalen Walker. Now, I'm a Georgia Bulldogs fan through and
Okay.
through. So when I'm watching, like, I get very involved in the draft. It's
Yeah.
a whole lifetime for me. It's like a lifestyle. Everybody else needs to not speak to me for about a week before and after the draft. Because before it, I'm prepping, and after it, I'm recovering. Right?
Yeah.
It's like a 4 day
Recovering.
bender for me. Like 4 day of consumption of football content, and nobody needs to speak to me until I've recovered. Thank you. And so I'm going around and I'm like this, right? Okay, what do we got? Who's our options? I've got a board that's got every possibility of who we can draft at what pick, what we might do, could we trade back, blah 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 blah. And Jalen Walker was always my top goal, and I kept thinking the Panthers are going to take him.
Yep.
I was
Of course.
convinced the Panthers were going to take him. And then I was like, right, he's not gone to the Panthers, so where's he going to go before us? And actually, on the draft day, I messaged him on Instagram and I said, look, I know that you don't have a lot of say here, but can you turn down every other team and just come to the Falcons and stay in Atlanta, please? That would be great. So I'm taking full credit for Jalen Walker joining the Atlanta Falcons. That's where I'm
Yeah.
at right now.
Job,
Because
job well done, Meg. Job well done.
thanks.
Listen, there's that.
Um,
Normally, and I'll admit, I'm the exact same way when it comes to the draft. Like I make a mock draft, and not just a mock draft for the entire league. I look into, hey, what holes do we need to fill? I presume that Mike Tomlin has a few other people that might do this, but you never know. He might call, hey, Blanco, what do we need for, it's round
yeah,
5. What do you think we ought to do?
you never know.
I gotta be ready. And
You've
that's,
got to be ready. This is the thing. And if Raheem Morris picked up the phone to me, I'd be like, oh, Raheem, let's sort this
okay.
out between us, okay?
I'm glad.
Women to women. Let's deal with it.
You finally made your first good decision here by calling me. Yeah.
Literally. Like, I'm glad that we're on the same page, because last year I was a bit concerned for your mental well-being, buddy. So I was dead excited for Jalen Walker. I was dreading the James Pierce Jr. pick because I thought that's who we were going to end up with. And I thought, oh, thank God we've avoided that bullet, because everybody said he's uncoachable. He's got the worst personality and character in the whole of the combine. There was multiple reporters coming after him saying he's not a good person. There's some criminal activity in his college days that isn't great. He's been cleared of the charges. I will point out it's all allegedly.
Allegedly.
So I was really worried because I thought, I don't want to become the Browns. I don't want to be a jailbait team. Thanks. Like, I don't need anyone in prison. I don't have enough money to bail you out. Like, and we kind of need a defense this season because last season was a car crash. Thank you.
Yeah.
So when we traded back to get him at 26, I was like, great. What are we doing? What are we doing? There is so many other options out here that we could have taken, and we've landed on James Pierce Jr. Then I watched him, and I watched very closely, and I watched Raheem Morris getting absolutely hounded about him. What was that decision? How's he getting on in training? How's he getting on as part of the team? And Raheem Morris was like, he's amazing. He is absolutely amazing. Like, he's gelled with the guys. He's part of the team. The reason he might rub people up is that he won't just say yes, sir, and do what he's told. He'll ask questions. So when we saw them on Friday night, and we saw that defense that we just didn't have last season. I mean, Helen was running through people. He was physically just like, I see you, bro. Bam! Like, you're on the floor. Unbelievable. And my best friend in the world is a Lions fan, and he's messaging me like, your boy is cruising
Yeah.
here because
Yeah.
he's going to get himself in trouble. And for the first time, and I even messaged, a couple of my mates, I was like, for a preseason game, this is quite good. I'm enjoying this. Like, normally I'm like, oh my God, like if anybody watched the Saints game last night, um, caliber of preseason games,
Yeah.
not great. That game was fire. And until obviously the stoppage,
Yeah,
in which,
the injury, yeah.
I
Yeah, the
think,
injury was tough. I hated to watch it. And it's the part of sports that, as a parent now, my son plays soccer, so I missed out on all that as much physicality. But I know when I watch things like that, I call my mom immediately, just like, Ma, just thinking about it. Because I know that was her prayer for years, like, please protect my son, because
yeah,
I'm massive, right? I was an offensive lineman. I'm 6'5" and 380. Who wants to carry me around, because of a situation, right? So I totally, when you see things like that, it does make your body just kind of shiver. But like, to your point about the defense, and I wanted to say something about James Pierce in particular. So as a Razorback fan, I don't know if you got a chance to watch. Last season we beat them I think they were number 4, number 5 in the country. Tennessee was.
yeah,
And we beat them at our home, which it's hard to beat anybody in their home, but our home is a tough place to play. And so, but I saw this 27 kid, and he was just hounding. Same thing. Then I caught them on TV a few weeks later, and kind of the way the SEC works is after we beat you, we got to root for you because that affects how important the win was for us. And so I'm watching him, and I'm just just kind of checking him out, and this dude is a monster. And to be fair, when I played defense, which was kind of sparingly, maybe a lot less than it should have been. I should have played more defense now that I think about it, but there was I kind of like a little bit of nasty in my D line and crazy in my linebackers, and to hear that about Pierce kind of fits because the way he plays is exactly what you described, which is almost disrespectful. He's one of those guys that doesn't appreciate that the offense decided to walk out there on the field. And you can see it in his play, and so I thought I felt like they probably could have got him later in the draft, maybe in the second round or third round. But I mean, look, I don't believe that. Like I said, I said it before, I say it again, that I don't believe after we see his production by the end of his career, I don't believe it'll feel like a reach at all. No. It may feel like a steal. The kid he eats defensive tackles or offensive tackles, and when you put a good linebacker like Walker behind him, and what you guys are adding with the defense is amazing, and it's just going to match what should be a good offensive production as well.
Should be.
So that's pretty exciting. I did check out part of the Saints. I had to watch part of the Saints preseason. It was everywhere. And you couldn't turn on the TV without seeing it. And again, that's the renewed excitement for the game of football.
For the season, yeah.
That if you don't like that, man, check your pulse. There's nothing better than that. Real quick, let's jump in the comment section because our boy Nathan is here with us. Nathan Sports Rush. He said hi to you. Hello.
Hi.
Happy Monday. I hope which your Monday is halfway over. And he said, "Welcome back, football." And that's one of the things I think that's so exciting. And it's ironic you say that you're a Bulldog fan. In Southern America, particularly Southeastern America. Well, actually, I guess these days from Texas to Florida football is religion.
Yeah.
Everywhere, everyone loves football. It's a fun game. It's a big moneymaker for a lot of people. But it just means I hate to sound like the pun and the slogan of the SEC, but it really does mean a little bit more down here than everywhere else. Even outside of the emotions that people display. So when I moved here to Louisiana in 2020, LSU had just come off this national championship, and what some might say is one of the greatest college football teams single seasons. Well, it's definitely, I think, one of the best seasons of all time by LSU, but I can't put them at the top spot as the best college team, a single college team of all time. I still got to give that to Miami, but they were a dominant team, and then in 2020 they stunk. I mean, like they just were not the same. And then to make matters even better is that Arkansas came and beat LSU in Baton Rouge. I didn't make a lot of friends that day, but like that was the culmination of kind of a really tough year for LSU. And what I realized working in the hospitality industry is that when LSU stinks, hospitality numbers are way down. And our business, thrives on LSU football in particular. LSU sports as a whole, but LSU football in particular. When the football team stinks, I mean, the basketball team has been bad here for like 4 or 5 years. I won't say bad, but not great. They haven't been terrific. Their baseball team's won like 2 championships in the last like 4 or 5 years. They've been really, really good. But when the football team does well, the hotel's brimming year round. When the football team stinks like it did in 2020, which I think they stink every year, but don't tell anybody. But when the record shows that they stink, it really like adds up. Like our numbers were flailing 2020 and part of 21 until they fired they I don't know if they fired him or if he just retired. Ed Ogeron retired, and then they brought in Brian Kelly from Notre Dame. And so and that's what this game is for this part of the world, is absurdly like it's everything, right? In high school football is even more. I mean, the way that during state playoff times, what it means for our business. Again, just looking at it from the hotel standpoint, the restaurant standpoint, the folks that are waiters, it's so much. The tourism portion of it is massive. Football is it's a beautiful, beautiful game. It's a beautiful, violent game. And so I hate to see the injuries. You look at over in, I was going to say San Diego, the Chargers in L.A. losing Rashawn Slater, their star left tackle, for the season due to injury. I hate to see it. So let me ask you this about the preseason. Just kind of talk before we get into what you expect from the second week. Do you feel there's been talk? There's 3 games. There used to be 4. Up until about 5 years ago, there used to be 4 preseason games, and now there's just 3. Do you feel like they need to reduce it to maybe 2 games, or have any preseason games at all?
I was watching the coverage following the Maurice Norris injury the other night, and and they were talking a lot about preseason and actually what the value of it is, because nobody's really showing up anything that's brand new or anything. It's a chance for the rookies to get on the field and kind of earn their stripes and weed out the kind of the good and the bad. But I think there's better ways of doing that in a team. And when we've seen like that Ravens cornerback that literally snapped his leg, tore his MCL and his ACL during a preseason game, is it worth it to be without your stars for the season when the games ultimately don't count for anything? Because to me, I think it's so high risk, and for what?
Yeah, for a little bit of nothing. I mean, we've got to have those we've got to have those looks in game. Like I was talking about earlier with the different sessions, you can go back and forth but it's good to have that in game. But at the same time, like, man, it's such a risk, and you gotta sit and question where we are, and I kind of feel like maybe 2 is a good number, but I think that usually they use that third game like a dress rehearsal. I don't know. It's hard to. It's kind of hard to say because injuries can happen in practice the same way.
Yeah.
I mean that was the thing with Rashawn Slater. He didn't even make it to the season. That was in the joint practice, I believe it was, where he got hurt. And so I don't know. I guess all in all, I just end up saying play the game and kind of let things go as they are. But I also am not. I don't want. I definitely. If it was a Steeler, I would be just mortified, right? T.J. Watt goes down. Stats have proven what he does for our team, and we can't afford to lose him. We can't afford to lose him in week 11, week 17. You definitely can't. Definitely
You're secretly hoping that Aaron Rodgers gets injured, though, right? You tell me I'm wrong.
No. Yeah. Well, I don't want to lie in front of everybody. No, it's a look, at
it's
this point it's been 10 years since we've won a playoff game, and whatever edge I can take to get that, I'll take it.
I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is taking you to playoffs, though. I hate to break it to you, and I don't want to burst any of you Steelers fans' bubble. I almost got banned off TikTok for talking about Aaron Rodgers. Like, no joke. It's how much beef that me and him have got. Like, we just don't. We're not a vibe.
So I'll say this about Aaron Rodgers. All right, he's looked really good in practice. My issue with the Steelers for the last 3 seasons has been that they are too predictable, and offensively it looks like we're working too hard. Now, granted, I watched us play with a Hall of Fame football or a Hall of Fame quarterback for 16, 17 seasons, and this guy Roethlisberger did it all, and Rodgers is a Hall of Fame guy too. So I presume that we're going to offensively we're going to make things look easier, and if that's the case, fine. He's 41. I'm 40. And if I got up out of this chair right now, you would see that I'm 40. So, that's my concern is it's great that he looks good right now in August. I need him to look good in January as well. And I can't guarantee that he's going to. And that's my concern.
The man's going to need an inhaler by the end of the first quarter, let's be honest. Like, he's struggling. And it's not even just that. It's his attitude and his approach to where he's at. Like, look what he did at the Packers. Look what he did at the Jets. He brings in all his own guys and then disappears.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen a Lazard signing yet. I'm sure it's coming. I am positive it's coming. I don't want it, but I'm positive it's coming. But again, like when you're dealing with a Kenny Pickett and Justin Fields, and I like Justin Fields. Physically,
I like Justin Fields.
He's a talented guy, but you got to teach this sort of thing. You got to teach those sorts of guys. Rodgers has got it in spades. I think he's going to. I think he's gonna offensively do well for us, but I still see us 10-7, 11-6, somewhere in there, and then we're gonna end up losing in the first round. I think the gas is gonna give out for him.
And I also think he's only there for a year. He's already said he's going to retire next season. But I was so surprised that you didn't go for a QB in round 1 of the draft. Like, come on, like at least get someone bedded in behind him who can, learn from him or, get into the style, get into the system that you're playing over. Like, I don't understand what was going on. But
to be fair, I've tried my best. I'm trying to bury it because we did get Will Howard, and
yeah,
Will Howard's not gonna be a world beater that I know, and especially speaking of injuries that he hurt. So whatever he was gonna get, we gotta wait till the season to see it for all kind of unfurl for him. But we might have had a diamond in the rough with him, considering that it was, he was a national champion. He does know how, as Tomlin said, in the presser, he knows what it takes, the sacrifice it takes to get the ring.
Yeah.
And look, everyone says he had professional receivers on his team. Well, we got professional receivers on the Steelers, so it's not like he's going to have to work very hard there. But I mean, he fell to the 6th round with purpose, and so and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we found the Tom Brady, but no. I'm of the mindset that having a good rookie quarterback is going to let him take his lumps this year, learn the ropes. We're gonna win 9 games anyways. Mike Tomlin means nine wins.
Yeah.
Like that's just, and I hate to say that over and over again. My co-host Anthony, the angry Puerto Rican, is probably watching this and punching the air right now because he hates when I talk about the Steelers. But at the end of the day, that's it. Mike Tomlin's gonna win 9 games. He's never not gonna win 9 games. The players love him too much they'll go out and cut off the thumbs that they have to make it work for him and to get those 9 wins. So there's not a question of that, right? So you put the rookie in, you let him turn around and hand it off 100 times a season, and ask him to make enough plays to get us to the playoffs. We lose another playoff this year, but he's gained some experience. I also don't want to mention that there was a 5th round quarterback that I think might be the best quarterback in the draft, and for some reason we passed on him 4 times, 5 times as a matter of fact. I can't explain that part at all, but and I think that kid I think he's gonna be, once they finally
he's a stud.
Screw up and trade him. When the Browns screw up and trade him, he's going to do damage in the league. I am sure of that because he's too smart and he's well coached. And I mean, his mentor is the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't like to say it, but it's kind of hard to argue with 7 rings. And that's the guy that's tutoring him. So what do you expect from him? And for us to pass on him, the Saints passed on him, the Raiders passed on him. I'm
the disrespect.
Yeah, and then even worse. Did you see that? Did you see this last week? The owner was like, "Oh yeah, the GM signed him. I wanted whoever else, someone else." I don't know if you know this, but this guy's wearing your jersey right now, and you're still saying,
And not only that, balled out. Like, he went out in that preseason game and he balled out. Like, and then he came off and he was like, "I give myself like a C- for performance," and I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" Absolutely not.
I am mind blown how what the people are going to look back and be mortified at this, years from now. As a matter of fact, I saw someone in it. There was an unnamed in our AFC North executive, probably from the Steelers, to be honest with you, that was like shocked that he had a good game. They said it essentially. I have to find a quote, but they said it essentially like, "Oh, he had a really. We didn't expect that from him." What?
What did you expect? Back on confronting the guy. Did you see him confronting the journalist? Afterwards?
The journalist. Yeah.
And he was like, "Are you going to finally write something nice about me then? Because everything you've written's negative." And I just think give the guy a break. He's a young man who, at the end of this, take the football out of it, take the family out of it, take everything out of it. He's a young man who is having to suffer the consequences of egos that are bigger than his elsewhere, and that's not fair.
Never, just as a life lesson, never ever pretend like words don't hurt. Words hurt way worse than any hit to the head or whatever. I mean, it's amazing what these people write and about fragile young minds that are still learning how to be professionals. And I mean,
well, look at Johnny Manziel. Look at what happened with him. Do you know, example. Realistically, there's so much negative press about how these young men are behaving in their personal lives, And actually, I work with young people. I work with children who have been excluded from mainstream education. So I
Wow.
get it. And it's all boys, mostly, predominantly boys. And I see these young men who are out here looking for a role model, looking for somebody that can just put their hand on their back and say, hey, that's not how we do this. That's not how we don't do life like this. Let's be respectful. Let's move this along a different direction. And rather than that, we're seeing such a hyper focus on criticism and such a hyper, culture of criticism around football and around these young lads. We all made mistakes when we were teenagers. We were fortunate enough not to be in the media getting blasted all over the news saying, oh, they've made a mistake. They've, been drunk and disorderly at a party, whatever. They're teenagers, they're young
They're
men.
kids. They're
They're literally,
kids
their brains
living.
aren't even developed yet. Let's give them a bit of credit and, give them that fresh start. So
It,
I get it. And I think it's
it's
disgusting.
it's amazing. As a living in this journalist world now, I'm so thoughtful about my platform, and it's ironic. I jump over here to Instagrams. I did not forget. I did not forget you guys at Instagram, and we're on a ton of different platforms. So shout out to everybody that's checking us out. Again, we got some folks in the comments, but we definitely like you don't think about it, right? And like we were talking before we went on air. Most of the people that are going to view this are viewing this after the fact, right?
Yeah.
We're going to shoot, we're going to cut, go on with our lives, having said all that we've said, and people are going to come back and watch this and look, and I mean, it's just amazing. The world is literally this big now, and
Yeah.
What you say has such a profound effect on so many people. You're the second guest that I've talked to in the last 6 or 7 days that you literally are saying, hey, I messaged said celebrity, said big time millionaire person playing this game or coaching this game, and shout out to the sportsman. He's made a living, made a following, and a way off of just taking a chance and messaging these people. So the things that we're saying on air doesn't go unheard, right?
Yeah.
Everyone hears it. So foolish of us to think, oh, I'm just gonna say this whatever. And don't get me wrong, I'm not I'll call a spade, but what I won't do is I won't stab you with that spade, if that makes sense, right? Like
I mean, I can criticize. Don't get me wrong. I'll criticize
sure.
someone for Aaron Rodgers, perfect example, right? I can give him the credit that he deserves, that he has had his day as one of the best quarterbacks of all time, arguably. It makes me feel sick a little bit to say it out loud, but I'm saying it. He's not that anymore, and I don't like what he stands for. I don't like his values. I don't like how he treats people. But that's not me assassinating his character. That's not me, trying to destroy
Listen,
him as a person. I'm saying do better.
At
That'd be great.
this point, you're just calling facts because we know what we see, and I'm not going to sit here and close my eyes and pretend like it's good when it's bad, right? But I mean, like that's the thing, right? And there's nothing wrong with calling a spade, but let's not sit here and pretend like going back to Shadur, that what possibly could a journalist say at the end of the day, okay, if you didn't like the way he answered the question, that's one thing, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't like that he was confident, and that's what seems to be the case, is that they don't like that he won't break his confidence. 2 years ago, Colorado only won 4 games, and half the country was like, oh, well, why are we making such a big deal about them winning 4 games? Because they only won 1 the year before, and nobody cared, right?
Yeah.
I've been a Deion Sanders fan since I was 7 years old, and so naturally I'm gonna be a big fan of his sons and the stuff they do. But part of the reason that I love Deion was because not only was he confident and could back it up, but if you go back and look, he was never disrespectful. Even when he got the fight with Andre Rison, it wasn't out of disrespect on his part.
Yeah.
It was him, standing his ground, and they shook hands after that. There was good sportsmanship. One thing Dion has never been is disrespectful. He's just his what does it say? Don't let my confidence upset your insecurities or something like that.
Yeah.
He had a real braggadocious way of saying it. He's an outstanding guy, man, and like that hurts people, that bothers people, and look, fine, let it bother them, but like let's be real. When you look at Shedeur and the stuff that the numbers don't lie. I mean,
yeah.
And now I will say this. My one knock on Shedeur, and this may be why he gave himself a C grade, and I didn't see it again in the Browns game, but when the games I watched in Colorado, he held the ball too long. As an offensive lineman, I'm always gonna take the offensive lines back. So you look at when you see high sack totals like what Shedeur endured in Colorado, what Joe Burrow did, in 21 and 22, the number of sacks that they were taking at that point. As much as it is the offensive line needing to win those pass block one-on-ones, also the quarterback's got to do that. And I talked about this a lot last year with Russ and particularly with Justin, making good decisions and understanding, hey, all right, this is the protection. I got 6 people in pro. The back's taking the inside gap. So anything that comes outside, I got to be ready for it, right? And I blame it on the offensive coordinators, but at the same time, the quarterback's got to make that play. And so I've been screaming it for a couple of years now, man. If you can't, at some point the quarterback's got to make a play. It's got to be up to the people on the field. As a coach, I say, hey, look, let me prep you to be ready to make that play, but you have to make the play. I cannot make the play. I am in the box. I can't hear, I can only see what I see and tell you what I see, and I need you to tell me what you see. But the quarterback's got to make that play. So,
and that was same for Falcons last season with Kirk Cousins. Like, the most frustrating thing was him being so hesitant in the pocket to actually make a play. And I remember watching it, and the first game of the season, I was like, is something happened? Like, is he stuck to the floor? Like, what the hell is going on here? Because this kid needs to move fast. Like, I'm watching them coming in to sack him, and I'm like, first of all, you can't be that confident. We don't have anybody protecting you. Secondly, why are you taking so damn long? Like, throw the damn ball.
Yeah.
Like, you can't run, clearly, because your ACL might snap again, heaven forbid. Throw the ball.
Yeah,
like,
that's the and so look, I was gonna ask you about that game because that game was against the Steelers, where there was one touchdown scored and it wasn't by the Steelers because we don't like actually playing offense, and so 7 field goals to beat you guys. I want to say it was 21-18 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just. And I was still shocked. I understood the logic behind going after Kirk Cousins so you can have a veteran guy, especially if you in your head you say I want Penix, but we're not sure if he's ready, so let's have a veteran guy. My concern was why sign him for guarantee the 2 years and such a big amount of money. Like
it's $180 million. Like
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and one of the biggest frustrations for me was I went all in on Kirk Cousins when we signed him. Right?
I was going to ask you about the jersey.
This is Calvin Ridley. This is not Kirk Cousins.
Nice.
18 is just my lucky number. So when we signed Kirk Cousins and 18 was his jersey announced, I was like, it's fake. Sure. It's brilliant. Yes, he's not the best, but we might be able to do something with this guy. And who knows, right? Because let's be honest, before Kirk Cousins, things were pretty bleak in our quarterback room for a while. Yeah. So I was like, right, okay, I'm going to buy his jersey. I'm going to buy a load of T-shirts that say straight out of the ATL with Kirk Cousins as Kirk O'Chains on my T-shirts. I'm going to represent him for every live stream that I do. I'm going to put Kirk Cousins, Kirk O'Chains, you like that? Like, all this.
Yeah.
And I was like, but 4 years on 180 million is quite a lot of money. Like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, then the draft hit. And this is what I mean when I say I need a recovery period after the draft. Because when they signed Michael Penix Jr., I was like, it's game over. Because in his head, Kirk Cousins could have stayed at the Vikings. He could have stayed on a year at the Vikings. He was happy there. He's
Yeah.
been missold the dream to come to Atlanta and be QB1, and then they've pick 8 in the draft taken another quarterback. Like, you're not telling me that didn't get in his head straight away. Even before that new series of quarterbacks started, I was like, he's in his head about this kid. He is in his head, but he's such a nice guy. He won't like come out and trash talk. He's just going to be like, okay, I'll just play till you don't want me. Because at the end of the day, I'm getting paid. Like he's sitting
getting
on that
paid
bench.
well.
He is getting
well. Yeah, no doubt
lot
about
of
that.
money. Like at one point, I thought maybe the Browns will take him because they've already got 6 in that QB room. They might as well add a 7th, lucky number 7, right? Why not? They like the older guys. They've got Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco over there. Like, he's a perfect fit, and they could trade us for one of their multiple first-round picks they've got for next season, right?
That's a fair trade. I can see that, right? It wouldn't shock me. That would be the most Browns thing I could think of, honestly.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm being realistic though when I say probably we're just going to be stuck with him on our bench, paying him an absolute shit ton of money that he doesn't really deserve.
Massive.
But he has literally got paid in that league, paid, and he's sat back and you look at his stats; they're not great. Let's be honest, for the amount of money that he's made.
That you know what I was mulling over the idea because at some point there started being talks because we didn't know what was going to happen with Perk Rogers and if he was gonna join us or what was happening there. So there was talk of maybe Kirk Cousins coming or us trading for Kirk Cousins. My question was, who are we getting? Is it worth it? I think that the scary thing about Kirk Cousins is he'll play well enough to put you into games. He'll win enough games for you. And then you add that to Tomlin and the 9-10 games they might win. But I mean, he's had a terrible playoff history as far as from what I've seen and what his stats show. It's not great. But here's the deal. Again, we've been offensively so bad, the Steelers have, that I don't know. I mean, whoever, and this is what so I'm in a bunch of like Facebook groups and things like that with Steelers fans, and I say the same thing every week and feels like twice a month. Whoever's going to make it not look so hard, our offense has labored for 3 years and just. I mean, in the 2-year span, Aaron Rodgers has thrown 54 touchdown passes. Three-year span, and that's still in the last 3 years, including 1 year where he tore his Achilles or whatever he tore. He's still thrown more touchdown passes in 3 years than we have. I think it's really, really bad. I mean, like offensively, we have been just a nightmare, and our defense carried us for years, and we've squandered the T.J. Watt's prime years. We've squandered some really good years for Cam Hayward, and I thought they were great years for Minka Fitzpatrick. That trade shocked me a little bit. A lot of things, a lot of bad offensive years, and so if Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Joe Montana, I don't care, and they're all kind of the same age for what it's worth, but any of them can come and make our offense look like a real professional offense for give me 11 games. I don't even need you to look good 17 games. 11 really good offensive games is all I'm asking for. And that's it. But so all right, I got a quick question in the Instagram comments, which StreamYard doesn't do Instagram. That's so weird. I really wish they would figure that out. So before we go to preseason 2, week 2, let me say, okay, so this is from the Angry Puerto Rican, our co-host. He says he wants to know what it's like when the NFL arrives in London. Kind of talk about that experience for you, if you're familiar.
So I live quite a bit north of London, so I've never been in London when the game starts. But a lot of my friends, podcast hosts, kind of the NFL world, as you know, can be quite small with content creation. And for them, it's like they're here. Everything's exciting. Everything, that buzz about the city, and people send me videos and content and stuff, and they get super excited about it, and they get really into it. Unfortunately, I think because the Jags are such a like staple feature of London games, it's hard to get excited about it because the Jags, like,
That's so accurate. Yeah,
nobody's excited for the Jags Browns playing a game of football. Can we just, like, that's like putting the Jags and the Titans on. Nobody cares.
yeah,
Nobody cares.
yeah.
So
Even if
yes,
it's
there's a lot
in
of Jags fans, but it's only because they're here every year. And they're not necessarily proper football fans. It's just opportunists that are like, well, at least we get a game with our team once a year, twice a year.
touche.
So
It's almost, to me, it's almost becoming a scoring. We play the Steelers play I was looking it up, and I think it is the Jags we play. But they play in.
they're in Dublin.
Dublin. Okay.
In Ireland.
All right. In
Yeah.
Dublin. Yeah. Not super psyched about it.
It's the first year of a Dublin game as well.
Okay, so all right, maybe that's not so bad. It just feels like it feels like a sign of decline for us that we're playing overseas. Normally it feels like that's reserved for the bad teams, and we do it like hella early in the season. I don't know, whatever.
I mean,
it's
I
fine.
think
Look, it's
the Vikings
it's
are
a
coming
good game
over.
like
They're
this.
playing. They're decent. The Falcons were here 2 years ago before we had any quarterback to talk about. But we're going to Germany. Falcons are playing Berlin against the Colts.
Okay, I'll take it.
So, it's the worst game for me. The worst international games are the Brazil games when like the state of those pitches is shameful, and they're so early in the season that it gives me anxiety because I'm like, someone is going to hurt themselves. Can somebody sort this out like now? Because I'm anxious about this. I'm glad it's not my team playing because genuinely have concerns.
Yeah, do not want that issue. Yeah,
We're I
do
mean, there's a
not
lot
want
of
that
talk.
issue.
A lot of talk for us right now that are England / London going to get their own team. And I was like, how is that working? Because then they're traveling 8-9 times out of a season. There's, you're going to have to schedule the bye weeks completely differently. You're going to have teams coming over. How does that work? It doesn't, realistically. And much as we would love it, and we would love to have the same football culture here, I think
Sure.
it kind of belongs in the States. And I kind of like feel like we don't have a right to just come in and be like, hey guys, looking at history again,
Yeah,
we're going to take what was yours and we're going to make it ours. And then, we're going to show up and pretend that we were here all along and that we can do anything as good as that. Now, I'm a big fan of Britball. I think Britball's great. Let's leave it at that. We don't need an NFL team and we don't need a league.
I'm definitely with you. The travel sounds awful. What does it mean for going forward? And I like the idea. I liked NFL Europe, if you were ever familiar with that. I thought that was fun and let them have their moment, and maybe we make it a little more professional, but that kind of travel sounds just hellacious, and I can't imagine that it's good for anybody. I know there's money involved, but let's be realistic, guys. It doesn't feel like a good doesn't feel like a good win as far as going across the pond. I'm not crazy about the idea of going to Mexico and Canada, but I would prefer that as going across the ocean and playing the game 7 hours early, those sorts of things. So,
can you imagine like the Seahawks? They're like the furthest away team. Can you imagine if you're like playing for the Seahawks and you get a game against London? That's terrible.
Awful.
It's such a bad idea.
10 hours in advance. That just sounds. Ugh. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I cringe thinking about it. So we're looking at week 2. I'm looking at the schedule here. Your Falcons play against Tennessee, so you'll get to see Cam Ward in person on Friday night. The Chiefs play the Seahawks also on the late game Friday night. Detroit goes to Miami on Saturday. Colts in Green Bay. Vikings and Patriots. Browns and and Philadelphia. The Panthers in Houston. 49ers in Vegas. Baltimore versus the Cowboys. The Chargers and the Rams are going to meet. And so that'll be a fun.
Yeah,
that's going to be a fun joint practice, I bet. The Jets and Giants also going to have a fun joint practice. Like maybe the winner of whatever fight they have that week determines who's the home team. Steelers play the Bucks, which I'm kind of excited about that. I want to see Shiloh in action. The Cardinals play the Broncos. Then on Sunday, Jags and Saints. And then, I might go to that game because it's in New Orleans. That's fun. And then Buffalo in Chicago. And to finish up preseason week 2, the Bengals play at Washington. Any of those games sound fun? Well, obviously, I'm sure the Falcons sound fun for you. The Steelers sound fun for me. And I like I said, Jacksonville and New Orleans may be one I might look at because my favorite thing about the preseason is that the tickets are like crazy cheap. Like tickets apparently as low as $8 in the Super Bowl.
Wow. That's crazy.
Well, I guess it's a 12 o'clock start. Maybe I can make it. So Sunday we're doing our quiz show, but that's not till 6:30. So I could go and come back maybe. That would be fun though. But any games that kind of pique your interest as far as players you might want to see or that you were watching outside of Falcons?
I have an eye on that Eagles second team because they're solid. I mean, absolutely solid. That Tanner McKee on week 1, unbelievable play. Like he is unreal. The Saints could have done well with him as QB1.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. There's a lot of teams that could have benefited from having Tanner McKee as their QB.
I'm really shocked at what's happening with the Saints. And the rumor going around here is that they may be tanking they're thinking Arch Manning will come out. But Arch has already stated that he's staying after this season. He'll probably join the draft in 27. That's been one of the more interesting things is kind of how the NIL has affected the play in the National Football League in particular. It's not so big and not as big as the NBA because the NBA pays so much more money. The same thing with baseball. The only sport that's really been affected the most by NIL is the National Football League. And I am just blown away by that. But when you get the drive, what is it? He's got like a Lamborghini, I think, or Bugatti or something.
He's already getting paid. Let's be honest. There's no reason for him to rush into the NFL. His grandfather even came out and made that statement and was like, he ain't going anywhere next year. Like, calm down. And it's why we're seeing the holdouts on, how many second round picks were holding out on signing contracts because they just weren't getting paid. They were we could go back and get paid more.
I can go back for this. I don't blame you. And we're playing, so I've told this story a time or two I believe on this show. About 8 years ago, I had a car wreck. I got T-boned by a old school 2002 Tahoe, in an intersection, and dangerous wreck. Thankful to be alive. But in that wreck, I guess my adrenaline was flowing, so I'm not thinking about it. I get to the house, wake up the next morning, I'm sore. And I got this familiar soreness, if you will. It's kind of weird. Familiar soreness. And it hits me. Felt like I played a football game. Just crazy to think about that. First of all, that I would sign up for a car wreck every week for 8-10 years of my life. I did. From 6th grade until I played 4 years of minor league football after 2 years of college ball, after 4 years of high school. So what am I at? I'm at, I don't know, 15 years of signing up for a car wreck every Sunday and Saturday and Friday. It's crazy. So it's mind blowing to me that the one sport that refuses to guarantee contracts, refuses to make sure that, and that, like, they've been guilt shamed over the years. I'm not sure how far you follow back, but the National Football League has had to be guilted into taking care of its players and former players, their brains,
Yep.
their bodies,
Yep.
Constantly, and having to be constantly reminded, like, hey, you guys should, take care
Yeah.
of these players that
Yeah.
are making you millions and millions of dollars and billions
Yeah.
at this
Somebody's
point.
like Aaron Hernandez over anyone?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do we remember what happened there? Because maybe
And
somebody needs to look at that.
you would think, and so that, but that's the amazing thing to me is to see what that means for players, and so I'm happy with the idea of players getting guaranteed contracts and enough money. Like, you need to share the sugar. I'm happy to see the chaos that NIL is causing with the same concept in the college ranks as well. Yeah, people have been making billions off the NCAA football for 20, 30 years.
Yep.
And the idea that someone would be upset about a player being shared some of that money is mind blowing. Again, I'm always kind of, I'll criticize where necessary, but I as a former player, I can remember some of the different players and I just played Division II ball, so nothing super major, but just remembering some of those players and some of the things they had to do to get by, the things we had to do as a team, as a brotherhood almost, just to survive the week, waiting for my mom to send me $20. And I can't blame Washita Baptist. They were barely getting paid off of the football that we played. And that money had to go around to the entire sports organization, just trying to survive as a whole. But at the end of the day, you gotta say you gotta share that sugar. So I'm happy to see these young guys being more thoughtful of what's gonna happen for them. So before we go, and for those of you who are just joining, you've missed an awesome show with Ballin's Meg joining us from the inside, or Hurdle the Line podcast. Look, I heard you talking about the Celtics. Tell me a little bit about how you became a fan of the Celtics.
It was the same person who made me a Falcons fan, actually.
I like this guy. I like
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah. So basically, it was one of those where we got to just watch them ball together, and then when there was no football on, he was like, "Yeah, well, there's a basketball game, so let's watch that instead." Okay. So started watching the Celtics, and I think I'm now a bigger fan of both of those teams than he is. Like, genuinely know more about their current teams than he does. There's me like messaging him like, "Have you seen that this is happening at the Falcons?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, now you know. Now you know,
Yeah,
because
congratulations.
you're welcome." And last season it was my absolute joy that the full season I was like, "How many games have you watched this season?" Because I've watched all of them, every single one. Like,
yeah. Now, was this around the same time in 23 or?
Yeah.
That you became Celtics fan? Okay.
It was maybe a bit after that, because I used to play basketball in high school, not to any level that was decent, just the kind of team from my year group, and boxing was always my sport. To be fair, I used to box more than anything.
Really?
But I was always a bit of a kind of, yeah, I like the Chicago Bulls. I'm a Blackhawks fan for hockey. I like the Chicago Bulls, like, but then I started watching the Celtics play, and I absolutely fell in love with Drew Holiday. Like, he is my guy. I love him. I think he's so funny, and like watching him even like last year getting his or year before getting his championship ring, and he's just like out there playing a fool. Like, he's just funny. And I was like, this is the kind of team that I want to watch.
All right. Your thoughts on the year ahead for them?
We're toast. Don't get me wrong, we are toast. Like, 4 out of our 5 starters have gone, either injured or traded. Like, we're done. We are absolutely done.
I saw something they were saying, an executive was saying that Celtics fans should set their expectations as low as they possibly can.
Oh, 100%. Like, and actually, interestingly, one of my colleagues, her nephew, has just signed for the Boston Celtics, and he's from
Wow.
over our way. So he actually went
Wow.
to college, what, 15 minutes from my house?
Holy
So
smokes.
that kind of makes me feel like even more committed to the fact that yes,
Yeah.
we're going to be terrible, and I'm not a fair weather fan. Like, if you look at my soccer team, my Scottish soccer team, everyone can see that I'm not a fair weather fan.
Okay.
Falcons, not a fair weather fan. Blackhawks, not a fair weather fan.
Yeah,
But
it's been some
I'll
tough years
stick
for the
by them,
Blackhawks.
100% stick by the fact that, we've had 18 championships and we can only go up after this year when we get back to form and we get Jay Tatum back. And, he's his injury is the reason that we lost to the Knicks. Like, let's be
There it
honest.
is. There it is. I mean, that's
One
that
player
is
makes a team.
that. That's kind of the thing I like about basketball is you can kind of get, you can get one star and can make or break your team, right? You think about LeBron leaving Cleveland and going from them being a 60s plus win team a year to I think they won 18 games. They might have won 60 games in the years he was gone. Like I think that might have been their total the entire time he was gone from when he was in Miami until he came back. So I mean, I look, I'm for it. I'm a Clippers fan. Speaking of sticking by him, I appreciate those who join a team and kind of hang in there. With the Celtics, you kind of feel like at some point they're gonna, it's just an injury. That's not so bad. We are currently just stinking it up, making poor decision after poor decision. It seems like whoops. It seems like Kawhi is not interested in playing meaningful basketball, which I'm not fond of. But you just kind of make it do what it do. But whatever, Clip City, Chip City, we on the way. We are on the way. While we got a chance, while Meg has stepped away, let me go ahead and make a few announcements, as always. So, first of all, super excited for tomorrow. We're going to do this again and have Mac Bryan, the fan historian, will be joining us tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. I said Pacific, not specific, but I am specific about the Pacific. Welcome
Sorry
back.
about that. My phone rang and it just cut me out of the StreamYard.
Yeah, love that. That's that's
Technical
my
ability.
biggest fear when I'm broadcasting is that someone's got something super important to say. I don't know if anybody can hear my dog barking in the background. I almost let me in. But we certainly appreciate you joining us. I was actually making a few announcements. So Thursday is the podcast anniversary. So to be fair, our podcast, our Instagram page, and kind of this idea is about 5 years old. Like I said, I've been doing, and we were talking about this off air. I've been doing sports broadcasting for nearly 10 years, maybe over 10 years actually, something like that. I think 14, 15 is when I started getting on air. But I've had this concept for a little while, and maybe 5 or 6 years. I think 2019 is when I started doing Fanatic Sports. And at that time, I think I was just sharing memes. But the podcast became an idea a few years ago, and I went through the throes of starting a podcast. Our first official podcast that was aired was the date was August the 14th of last year. There were probably like 4 first podcasts. I did an outstanding 90-minute session by myself at this studio, at this computer, and forgot to press record. So,
Oh.
so
We've all been there. We have all been there. I've done it myself. Like,
oh my
recorded a
gosh.
whole video and then was like, right, I'm going to put. Oh, I've not recorded it.
Yeah,
Great.
and that's when you get your best takes. Like I done
Always.
an awesome job. Nobody's gonna see that, not even me. Then there was like there were a couple of I did like a couple 30-minute quips trying to figure out and make sure that like all of the recording and stuff worked. And figuring out where I was going to put it and how to post it. And then we got the StreamYard. And even after doing StreamYard, it was still like, okay. And so finally we got it off. And the first one that aired on Instagram on YouTube, which we cannot watch because I like commercials. And at the time, I was thinking about the idea of let's give ourselves a break. But what would be best for a commercial? I hadn't sold any sponsorships at that point. And so I said, well, what do I do? You know what would be great if we had some of those like funny, parody commercials from like Saturday Night Live or something. And so I went and stole one from, I think TikTok or something, and I posted it, and I got flagged. And so you can't even find the show on YouTube now. I got it downloaded somewhere. I can send it, but it wasn't good enough to show anyways. It's fine. But it just going through the throes of this content creation thing has been crazy. And so looking forward to celebrating that on Thursday with some old guests that have been on. A few of them have been on a few times, but just, looking forward to celebrating 1 year of figuring this thing out. And so that's been a blast. And so that'll be Thursday the 14th, 6:30 Central Standard Time. 7:30 Eastern, so not too late for the old heads that might join us. But pretty excited about that. So look, before we go, Meg, tell us where we can find you. This is the shameless plug time. Where we can find you. Anything you got coming up next? What you got?
Yeah, so this is the part that I hate the most, to be fair, because like I hate promoting myself, weirdly enough. But ballers_meg is across all the socials, so it's the same username for TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, I should say, all that stuff. I've just joined Threads today. Don't expect much from me, but it's there. And then I've got my website, ballersmeg.com, which will be starting. It's had a bit of a hiatus break for the last couple of weeks just to let the season kick back in. But that's like a news journalist kind of website where you'll get NFL and NBA takes from me and some special guest writers. And then Hurdle the Line is my weekly podcast on the Asleep at Work network, which will be moving to the preview show on a Thursday night rather than or a Friday morning. It'll be released on YouTube at Hurdle the Line as well.
Nice. Look, so and so I will tell you this. The one thing I'm really good at is promoting myself. I wonder sometimes, do I have anything good to promote? But that's not the point. I'll leave that up to them. I'll just go promote it. But I do love that, and I always encourage that you promote yourself as well, because you got a lot of really great content and a lot of really great stuff going on, which is the main reason why I was like, man, we got to get her on the show as much as we can. Hopefully you'll come back. I feel like I've been well behaved this week, so good job, me.
You have been well behaved, I would say. It's the inner teacher in me.
Gold star for blocker. I did good. Well, we certainly appreciate you again joining us, and we look forward to having you soon. Anything else before we go?
Just thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, look, you again, as I've stated, and I'm proud to say it, a talented ball knower and ball talker. So we look forward to it, and we say thank you again. Thank you as well to everybody that's joined us. We've got kind of a nice little thing going on. So, all right, before we go, I will tell you, I am not going to call it X. I am always going to call it Twitter. I'm old, and I don't plan on changing.
We love it.
This is a trick that the old dog won't be learning. It's Twitter to me. It's weird that they call it X.com. Don't even get me started. There's a ton of dirty jokes and swear jar remarks, dollars I'd have to put in for it. But no, I'm cool with that. And I'm not joining Threads. I don't want to, like, I've got enough on my plate. Like, literally, I hadn't even bothered to check. Thankfully, StreamYard does Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, but they don't do LinkedIn and they don't do Instagram as far as, like, the comments. And so, like, I haven't even gone over there to see who said what. I'm sure there's very important things that are being stated that I forgot to check. And then I got to go, like, post all this stuff to TikTok and the other platforms. I don't need another. We're good. I'm very cool with the few that we got there. But you know, I think we got something special. I'm really proud of all the work you're doing and happy that you got to join us. So thank you to you, Meg. Thank you to everybody that's watched us today for the last 90 minutes. As I always say, man, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Thank y'all for watching episode 38 of the Fanatic Sports Podcast.